the definition of the view is, well, one moment you say, when you see unobstructedly, without an object, that is the view. So my question is about without an object.
Yes. That is the same as the here. There's nothing kind of object, but mind is penetrated. Yes? You look. Mind is penetrated. Penetrated. There's nothing distortions, nothing kind of interruptions, nothing preserved. That is the simplicity of the Dzogchen. This is the simplicity, the city of the Dzogchen, of Brussels. It's not, when you look at again and again, look at your mind. Mind is the free from the past, present, futures. Then what you are going to see, you can to see clearly empty nature. This is the not different of the mind. This is the simplicity of the mind. That is the like kind of, there's no focus, no kind of any object. Mind is the penetrated.
What does it mean penetrated? No, what do you understand?
Huh? What? Penetrated, there's nothing to stop.
What does it mean?
It's just transparent.
Do you mean you know everything?
Huh?
Does it mean you know everything?
Songtal, can you translate? Songtal. Songtal, penetrated. Or the Lodza was penetrated. It's a songtal.
Omnipenetrant.
Huh?
Omnipenetrant.
Huh?
Penetrating all. No.
Songtal, can you translate? Song. 사실상은 송으로 봐. 사마스의 송탈. 송탈이 was clearly penetrated. Huh? No, the kuncha is permeated. Permeation. Gun is like all pervasive, all pervasive. All is a gun. Cha is pervasive, all pervasive. Penetrate. Or penetrate, or penetrate. Yes. Okay.
And what difference between kunchap and samchap?
And the other one is kunchap is the all pervasive means is each individual particle or atom or the phenomena it has pervasive of the Buddha nature. And Buddha nature itself is as nothing interruptions. It's like a penetrate. Maybe my pronunciation, do not criticize my pronunciation. Penetrate.
No S is better than
Penetrate. Penetrate. Okay. This is my pronunciation is not very good, Okay, like this. Then it's okay like this. That is the view. And also it's like the view is nothing holding. And activity is nothing adopt or abandoned. Yes, in the advice of Konzo it says, wonderful, small book, but marvelous, extraordinary book, memorized. And like this, okay? And others, yes.
First one, according to Martin's question.
Martin's questions.
When you say
Penetrate. Sorry.
Is it the same when you recognize that everything has this nature nature of Buddha, is it the same as to be omniscient, or is to be omniscient also...
Nothing related to that.
Huh?
Nothing related to this. What is your question? According to your Martins.
Yes, when we were talking about permeating and open treating and this kind of things, and you said that it means we didn't say recognize, you used another word, that everything has Buddha nature, like nothing is different.
I'm not sure.
But okay, no more question, I don't know then how to say. Then other question.
Okay, ça va. J'écoute. What?
When we were talking about this four formless states,
Okay, formless
realms,
state, finite space, infinite consciousness, and nothing whatsoever, neither present and absent. Okay. Yes? Mm-hmm.
So my question
Yes, your question is?
There are many questions. First of all, how can we recognize those states, like our mind is in this kind of states?
How to recognize? Listen properly to your teacher and to study properly for the Dharma, then you can recognize that. Further?
I forgot, actually. I had a question earlier and I forgot. What did I ask you?
I think Papa Coco is, you need to give croissant to her. Patrick? No question. Okay. And says how we can to relate to this one, and we can to continue to talking about the training in the transcendent of the wisdom. That is the most important. One word we understood, penetrate. Okay, penetrate. That is the word. Sorry to my English accent. And the wisdom there is a different categorization of the wisdoms. The wisdom of the listening, wisdom of the meditation, and wisdom of reflecting. And also there is of course, different wisdoms. And this wisdom is wisdom. And sometimes we call the wisdom, sometimes we call the primordial wisdom, and sometimes supreme wisdom, which is all aspect of the features. Features. My English is better than the lot of us. Okay, I'm a winner. Okay, and this kind of feature means the aspect of all the phenomena. Feature, aspect. For example, supreme wisdom of the all aspect of phenomena. And this, and then is of course there are many different wisdoms, and it's we can to understand the wisdoms. What does it mean, the wisdoms? Wisdom is wisdom or wisdoms. Sometimes say it's wisdoms. Wisdom or wisdoms? Okay, in American they say the wisdom. Okay, then it doesn't matter. And wisdom is the knowledge as the authentic discriminate, discernment of the all object of the cognitions. Do you understand? The knowledge as the authentic discernment of all object of cognitions. And that is also in the wisdom chapter. It says, what is the knowledge? It is the full discriminating of all the phenomena. And like a kind of inner our intelligence, inner our the like kind of discernment of our minds to understand the distinguishing between right or wrong or what it is, like to have clearly to ideas. And also it's like in the another some saying in the text saying, hence the essence of the knowledge is to clearly distinguish and authentically discern the various phenomena to be examined. That is very good, like kind of quotations to each individual's phenomena to have distinctions, to understand our mind of the intelligent. That is the relative truth, that is the absolute truth, that is the relatively, is the samsara, nirvana, positive and negative, everything. So whatever we analyze, whatever like a kind of subject which is we need to analyze, those things are unmistakably to have clearly into our mind. That is what we call the supreme discrimination mind, discriminating wisdom, because it can make the clearly distinguish between these things. That is also the authentically. Authentically means it's like a no mistake. That is like the discern the various phenomena, varieties of the phenomena, infinity of the phenomena. They are like a kind of mind can to conscious, or it's like to understand those things. That is like the principle, the essence of the wisdoms or wisdom is like this. And then it's like the verse itself goes like this. Without wisdom, the other 5 paramitas cannot bring us to the attainment of the perfect Buddhahood. To cultivate wisdom which is endowed with skillful means and does not conceptualize the 3 spheres is the Bodhisattva practice. And that is like without the wisdoms, without wisdom, the other 5 paramitas cannot give to us in the state of the omniscient, or is other paramitas without is like the wisdoms, they cannot receive even the paramitas. For example, when we practice the paramita of the generosities, and it's a huge best friend of the generosity is non-conceptualization of the wisdom. And this is the wisdoms. Wisdoms enhance the generosities, and then the generosity action is become the paramitas, name of the paramitas. It can transcend to ours from the samsara to the nirvana. And also this 6 transcendent is detailed according the sequence of the causalities. Do you understand? The sequence of the causalities. Sequence of the causalities. For example, if someone has great discipline or doing the generosities, paramitas, then this person's naturally to have the discipline, because discipline transcendent is like kind of comes from the cause of the discipline, the generosity paramitas. And then if someone has great the paramita of the moral discipline, and then this person has automatically the paramita of the patience. And if this person has the paramita of the patience, and then this person automatically to have paramita of the diligent. And then this person has the paramita of the diligent, and it's become the cause of the to reborn or to have the paramita of the meditative concentrations. And therefore sometimes the wisdom is like kind of a result by the meditative consultations. If you have the perfect, the calm body, and then there you have this inner like the spatial vision, which is the vipassana. And therefore it's like sequentially follow up the causalities. The wisdom comes from these meditative consultations. But here is the like kind of which is the most important element. For example, here is the 5 paramatas cannot bring out to the attainment of the perfect Buddhahood. Cultivate wisdom which is endowed with the skillful means. That is the crucial point. Which is endowed with the skillful means. The skillful means is the 5 transcendent. All the different, like there's a virtues. For example, it's like included generating bodhicitta, and also it's like practice, thought, and visualization. Any kind of aspect of the virtues are that we call the skillful means. Wisdom is a need, the ornament of the any virtues skillful means. And therefore, of course, and principally, wisdom need the ornament or endowed with this 5 transcendent of the skillful means. And then is the wisdom is become very elegant. There's an example of the wisdom commentary by the Rinpoche saying that is, like for example, Korean is without ornament. Korean is coming from the people nakedly. Korean is not beautiful. Korean is not elegant. You know, Korean need is a crown. Korean need all the ornaments really, and then to be then the front of people is Korean is as a Korean, and like this. Of course, it's without Koreans. Koreans crown and Koreans other ornaments never ever receive the name of the Koreans. And therefore, to join and together, it's like this. Also, there is like kind of another examples. For example, in this Dharma ruling of in this world, there's examples. Okay, and it's the king is need. There's 4 like kind of the army of I don't know grew up like this, like a horse, like a kind of weapons or arrows. There's a kind of this kind of 4 surrounded attitude, or like, how do you say? It's like attitude not. It's like surrounded, like a kind of retinues. Yes, of this 4 army aspect. Then is a king in the middle is coming together. Is the king is so powerful, and also these retinues are powerful, and then head and the body is coming together. Like this, it is like 5 transcendent paramatas without wisdom, and then they cannot receive even the name of the paramatas. And other paramatas is not very good if they are not enhanced by the wisdom. Also, wisdom is alone. Without the paramatas, it is not very good and is not really wonderful. Therefore, and endowed with the skillful means is like principally this skillful means is the 5 transcendent, like generosity, moral discipline, patient, diligent, meditative concentrations. And also is included any kind of virtues, meritorious, are the skillful means. Means is like this means, it's like a kind of for ours bring into the enlightenment. Therefore, do not conceptualize the 3 spheres. Here is the 3 spheres. It is like kind of object and connectors and the subjects. We can do subject, perceiver, and the between is the linked, which is the when we are like kind of doing the generosity and practice the discipline and the patient and the meditative and so on. And that is the object of the perceived. These 3 things are enhanced by in the wisdoms to understand the non-existent. And then is like wisdom is the become the perfect. And also it's like, we can to say it's like, basically when we have the wisdoms, that is the evaluated, we can use the meaning of the selflessness through is the mental image or the thoughts is being evident. It is the second knowledge. And sometimes in the book this kind of quotation it says, beginning we need to analyze the phenomena and the essential nature of the wisdoms. At the beginning I said sometimes our inner mind intelligent, sometimes we call the wisdoms because it has great discriminating like ideas. We are clearly to understand. Sometimes we call the primordial wisdoms. Why we say the primordial wisdom? Because these wisdoms to realize the primordial potential of the Buddha natures, and then we call that this wisdom is the primordial wisdoms. And the recognizer or the recognizer's name is like a primordial wisdom. What is the recognizer? Is a recognizer is like kind of the object of the principal subject of the Buddha nature. That is like realizing itself, and then we call the primordial wisdom. And then this primordial wisdom is the true nature of the base our mind, the essence of our mind, and reality of our mind, original of our mind, incompatible of our mind. This mind is very, very important, the mind. And sometimes this mind we need to analyze. For example, we can to say is like how to realize that. We are not like really to thinking about meditating on the no existence of the object. For example, there's one Patrul Rinpoche's books called the Introduction, the View of the Mahayanas, emphasize the true truths. This book is very short. It is like say, and inside when you establish the absolute truth and through the relative truth, and the first time you are investigating the object of the phenomena, we can to say all the nobles, like kind of the phenomena of the object, and to analyze is like to establish no existence. And also out of phenomena, it's not really existence. If something existence, this cannot change, nothing cannot to kind of continue. We need to more and more. Our environment is like a dream, it is like a hallucination, which kind of essential, like a kind of entities, which kind of existence. It is like through the using the methods of the particles, atoms, and also using the like kind of the timers. It's like a kind of momentary natures. And also in the science, the intelligence, when we investigate out of phenomena, everything is living in the momentary natures. And that perspective, of course, we have imagined, based the how do we say, kind of meaning of the empty nature or the true nature of reality. And also, sometimes we have ideas. It is not nihilistic. It's a multitude phenomena. They are like kind of all interruption, and like on Sicily they are arise. And then it's like you can like a kind of surprise. Wow, how? Of course, it is our nature of the reality is wonderful, marvelous, and also it's like we can to say it's like, and the real practitioners. To say is like, when we have more and more negative emotions, and we never become like kind of desperate. Negative emotions more and more coming. Why not? Excellent. Negative emotion is bring us to path. Look at the more, and we understand the non-existence of the negative emotions. Through that, maybe we can realize the object of this phenomenon's non-existence. Then I'm going back to the text of the Patrul Rinpoche. And when you establish the empty nature of the object of the appearances, and maybe you have the notion, definitive notion, and like kind of the determined notion of the non-existence of outside phenomena. But these notions, it doesn't bring us into the enlightenment. And then afterwards, we have these notions, we need to turn inward to check this perceiver is the subject of the mind, how it is itself is like non-existent or not existent. And we have this non-existent notion of the perceiver of the mind. Then we check the mood. Then my body, speech, mind, how it is. To check in through this and then non-existent, the supreme, the empty nature of all the aspect of the phenomena or the mind. It is like, then it's like to maintain that is the principle, the like kind of the root of this both. It's like when you inner your mind non-existence, or that this spatial, or that they go beyond the free from, how do you say, the elaboration, extremes, the extraordinary of the original, your like kind of simplicity of your income type to this mind is to recognize that, then bring us into the enlightenment. And therefore it's like there's cannot to bear or cannot to be. It's any kind of like a slight about conceptualize the three spheres. And the mind, the wisdom of the maintain the wisdom of the essence nature of the wisdom is like a free from this conceptualized three spheres. And then it's like wisdom is like same as our true nature of the realities like this. Then do you have some more questions? Yes.